And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, friends and traders. I am Dan Hodgman. Welcome to the Market Recap. It is Wednesday, September 8th. I hope you guys all had a wonderful day so far here today. Markets were opportunistic. I think there were some good moves. We actually saw some movement in the 10-year note, which we haven't seen in quite a little bit of time. So that's fun to see. You got crude oil opens up this morning on the highs where we were yesterday. Broke down a little bit, but man, oh man, crude oil, very tight range there all day today. I mean, maybe 80 cents, like high to low, but stayed pretty choppy. The big opportunity in that market was during the London session last night. Equities, NASDAQ was the volatile one here off the open this morning, just broke hard and fast. We saw a 100-point move right off the open. That market took off to the downside. And it's been creeping its way back higher here today. And it kind of came right to a pivotal spot, right to overnight lows. That's where this market rallied right back up to. So we'll take a look at that here shortly in just a minute and see if there's going to be some opportunity tonight. You got the S&P 500 opens up this morning right around settlement price. Closes the gap, checks settlement price, and then rotates lower. And it's been maintaining this downward trend. We're not seeing the big sell-off yet. We haven't seen the big correction or the 5% move come in just yet. And I say that like it's coming, it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. It could be tomorrow. It could be next year. It could be in 50 years. But you're seeing small little sell-offs here. I think there's a lot of concern going on with this Delta variant. What's going to happen with that? The Beige Book came out today. Beige Book basically says, as expected, employers are feeling the heat of inflation. They're paying higher wages. Things like that are happening. And that's kind of exactly what we expected. Remember, a lot of the unemployment benefits, those are going away right now. So we're going to start to probably see some changes in that job sector. So paying attention tomorrow, jobless claims are going to be coming out. We'll see how those are affected. Are they going to adjust? Are we going to see higher numbers, lower numbers? What's going to happen there? And we're about 3.5, 4 weeks away from our next jobs numbers. So we'll pay attention to those as well. So lots going on. Markets are opportunistic, and I hope you guys all had a chance to find some good opportunity there. Remember, this is our first week back into the swing of things after Labor Day. Summer's pretty much coming to a close. So it's our job now really to buckle down and keep grinding away until the end of the year. So let's go take a look at our charts here and see exactly what we've had going on here today. As always, we're going to start with crude oil here. But we have our 10-year note up. Let's correct that. All right, crude oil. So like we said, crude oil opened up this morning right around our highs. And oh, looky there. What do we have back here? Friday's unchecked point of control. Friday's unchecked point of control. Market opens up right on it. Great opportunity to execute a trade. Now, this is where you can look at this and say, as a trader, I can make that judgment call. Am I looking for this market to rotate back inside, or am I looking to kind of extend higher? We've got last week's swing high all the way up here at 70.60, and you've got targets down below as well. We've got unchecked point of control from yesterday down here at 68.23. Market's in the dead center there. It's your job really to determine where are you going to be able to manage your risk the best. So when we look at this market setup here, we're looking at opportunity where if I'm looking to get in at point of control here, I'm not looking to take a lot of risk one way or the other. Now, if we're looking for this market to continue to extend higher, we want to show acceptance. We want to show some trade up above this point of control. Market does not trade above that. Actually, as soon as we opened up, it starts to press lower. So we have one little chance coming back here around 8:30 this morning. Gives us one last chance to take the short off of point of control from yesterday, or excuse me, from Friday, and rotate just back inside. And that's when this market really did. It really stayed tight. And so we're going to kind of want to keep a closer eye on this 69.50, 69.40. Keep a closer eye in this range here over the coming day and into tonight. If that level holds, look to see this thing rotate lower. If it doesn't, if we see some acceptance up above, we may see us go checking back out all the way back to last week's swing high up here at 70.60. Next, let's look at the S&P 500. Like we said, S&P 500 opened up this morning right on settlement price. Settlement price in the S&P 500. Let me pull my quote board here. I had it up. There we go. Settlement price in the S&P 500 was 45.19 quarter. 45.19 quarter, right where this market opened up, right at yesterday's point of control. Great chance. What are we thinking here? We're thinking market's been in a downtrend state for the last 24, 48 hours. Let's look for that to continue. We can take the short right at settlement price, right at point of control. We're taking that short, and we're just looking to go check lows. Market rotates right down to the low side here, checks overnight lows, moves through it just slightly. And like we said with the NASDAQ, it did a slow grind higher here today and rotated right back to yesterday's value area low and rejected. So this market is in a downtrend state on a short time frame here. We've seen it over the last 3 days. We're continuing a trend lower. I'm going to continue to look for those short opportunities until this market's telling me something else. I'm looking for those pullbacks. I'm looking for that market to pull back. What am I going to start to look for? When do things change? Now, this is where I'm going to start to pay closer attention. When the market continues to press the high side of a channel, right? So we're maintaining trend. We're maintaining this market is holding below. Once I see this market start to accept above, that's when I'm going to start to look for some different or market state changes. That's really where I'm going to start to pay attention. Until that point, I'm looking for that weakness. I'm looking for that strength, and I'm looking to play with trend. As simple as that. And when the market state changes, that's when we have to adjust. We got to be quick to adjust when market state changes. Next, let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ volatile open, like we said, opens up this morning up at 15,665. Settlement price was a few points above. Settlement price up here at 674 3/4. 674 3/4. Market did not make it, but we're pretty darn close, right? We've used this idea of 10% and it differs for every different product, right? You can't use 10% in something like the 10-year note, which isn't going to get as much range. Market's opening up basically right at point of control, just shy of yesterday's settlement price. We saw both those reject prior to the open. What's that telling us? We can maybe take the short right off the open to see this thing rotate lower. Where's it going to come to? We have one swing low, two swing low. That's what's catching my attention. Market rotates lower, makes a new swing low. Markets are making new lows here. But then as soon as this market makes the low, it attracts the buyer really quickly. Buyers come back into play. And this is where you get to start to pay attention or start to look for a chance. Now, here's what I want to kind of get our eyes on. 1, 2, 3. This hour and a half after that initial break to the low side. This is where things are really tough to trade. This is where markets are extremely volatile and it's running really fast. And it's hard to just get in and make a decent trade. You want to wait for that market to slow down a little bit. So we start to see it slowing down and it's giving us pullbacks. Here's where we can start to recognize. Now, we're getting towards that lunch period. We are getting a little quieter. Now we can look for market to get a little bit more directional, a little bit more in control. Market does get in control, rotates back up to, and here's what I loved looking for. I was looking for chance back towards the overnight low and yesterday's low, regular trading hour low. Those were two great indications or two great levels to see if we can get this market to rotate back to it, and did really nicely here today. All right, next, let's look at the gold. All right, gold opens up just like all these markets here today, well, except for crude oil that we've talked about. Opens up on its high, rotates lower. This market has been maintaining downtrend as well. We have news coming out today. You got things like the beige book. You've got some concerns. You've got fear out there with Delta variant. How's it going to affect these markets? Well, right now, gold is selling off just a little bit, maintaining that trend. So what are we looking for? We're looking for those chances to maintain and stick with trend to the downside. We do have targets up above, but right now we're looking for the low side. Market opens up this morning and it breaks pretty quickly. This was tough. Gold has been really difficult to trade right off the open. I don't care who you are. It has been a very difficult trade unless you're in on the direction right off the open. So market breaks off the open. Get a quick bounce, and now is where we get to start to look for chance. We're reacting around yesterday's value area low. Do we accept? If we start to see acceptance inside, we look to see this market rotate back higher. If we don't accept inside, which it's showing here, it did not accept. It rejected the entire time. We look to see that market rotate back to the low side. And that's really what we got here towards the end of the day. We got the low side move finally here at the end of the day. All right, next, let's go ahead and look at the 10-year note, or excuse me, the euro, which opened up right on settlement price nicely. Settlement price here was 118.47, even 118.47. Got the wrong month on that one. No. Am I reading? I think I'm reading things wrong. No, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. Settlement price here in this market was 118.47. Market opens up well below. And right off the open, continues the downtrend. So all these markets, they maintain trend throughout the entire day. Our job is to look for those strengths and take the shorts down to the low side. Market opens up this morning. We have traded well below. We checked yesterday's point of control in the overnight, but that doesn't always count, right? So this is what we're going to start to pay attention to. If this market gets back in a directional move to the upside, look to start checking unchecked points of control. You got one all the way up here, 118.98. You got one from yesterday, 118.50. So there's a lot of targets up above that if this market starts to rotate higher here in the overnight session into tomorrow, let's take a look at that. But right now, I'm maintaining trend to the low side. I'm looking to see if I can accept on the other side of this channel. We're not seeing that just yet, so we're going to look for strength in these markets, and we look to just sell that strength. All right. And lastly, we'll take a look at our 10-year note. We'll call it a day. 10-year note opens up this morning. Finally gets a little bit of life after it rotates right down to misses point of control by a tick, but it gets to yesterday's value area. Now we've got some opportunity here. We get to start to look for a chance in this market. Rotating into key levels that we love to look at. Market rotates right down to value area low high from yesterday. Gives us a chance. We got 3 ticks down to point of control. There's a chance for us to take a trade. Now we're looking at something. We are seeing an opportunity. Market's presenting itself. We can look and consider taking this trade. We take the long ones because we're hoping there's no acceptance into yesterday's value area, and we see this market rotate back up to unchecked point of control from Friday. We missed it by a couple ticks, but that really, to me, was a good opportunity in this market. All right, everybody, those are our markets we've got here so far today. It is Wednesday. Markets coming to a close tomorrow. Key thing, remember, we talked about this yesterday. Crude oil number, not until tomorrow. It was not today. Remember, if you are a crude trader, you're keeping an eye on that jobs or the crude number tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a heavy day. You got jobless claims at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. Natural gas is going to be at 9:30. You got EIA petroleum status at 10. You got a lot of bills and announcements coming out. You got a lot of speakers. Charles Evans, Mary Daly, Robert Kaplan, Michelle Bowman, John Williams, Eric Rosengreen, just a long list of them. We're going to end the day with the Fed balance sheet. So lots coming out. Information did come out on the beige book. I haven't had enough time to look into it just yet, but make sure you guys look into that, get some information out of that, as well as we had the red book here today. And we are getting closer to the end of the week and another weekend and another week in the books. All right, couple things going on. Bitcoin, 46,780. And next, we got our Airbnb. Remember, we were making a little money on this one yesterday. Gave up a little bit today, $163.93. Our meme stocks continue to be all over the place. AMC up to $47.40. GameStop finally dips below 200 yesterday. Well, rallies back above, up over $206, $207. But it's looking to end its day once again back under 200 at $198.80. But our Tesla continues to be strong, $753 a share there. Robinhood, another little down day for it, nothing crazy, down to $40.05 with the VIX spiking this morning on the rally, on the break, right? Makes total sense. VIX spiked up to 19.5, but we're going to end our day down at 17.8. So those are a couple things we got going on here today. Lastly, we'll go on this date in history, and we'll get the heck on out of here. First and foremost, on this date in history, in 1504, Michelangelo's statue of David is unveiled to the public. If you haven't seen it, it's a pretty beautiful statue, very ornate, and to see that was made 600 years ago. 500 years ago. That's pretty incredible. What else do we have? I think I had one more. Yes. 1986. We've all seen her. Oprah went national. 1986. A Chicagoan herself. So on that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign on out of here. John will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time with the market forecast. So make sure you guys tune in. But until then, stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. Look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take care, everybody.